You know how top-down crescent shawls can end up with a hump in the middle at the garter tab? I've spent some time thinking about how to get rid of that hump. You notice if you've just got a really short garter tab, you have a lot of stitches here that get worked on back and forth before you really get into the body of the shawl. So what if we elongate this tab so that things aren't all stacked up right there? And what if we put eyelets along here so that it doesn't call attention to itself as a solid block? Here's an example of where we've done just that. I've elongated this center section here by knitting back and forth to make a longer garter tab, and I've added eyelets here to mimic the ones that are over here. I've also added an extra row of garter between the pickups so that it's more flexible up on this edge, and I'll show you how. Now you know in this shawl construction, top-down crescent, we're working back and forth after we've made our garter tab and pickup, and we have double increases at the beginning and end of each row on the right side, and on the wrong side there's a single increase at each end of the row. So I'm gaining 4 stitches on the right side rows and 2 stitches on the wrong side rows. 4 plus 2 is 6, so I'm gaining 6 stitches every 2 rows. So what I want to know is how many stitches do I have to work on with my pattern in between the stitches that I'm going to increase on? And that is my number I'm going to call N. For me, I would like 12 stitches here to work the pattern on, not counting what I'm increasing into at the beginning and end of each row. So if I want 12 stitches, I am going to knit 24 rows in my garter tab. So my garter tab, I cast on 3 stitches if I want a 3-stitch garter tab, 2 if you want 2, but my sample is 3. So I cast on 3 stitches and I knit 24 rows. I'll be right back with my 24 rows. And I'm back with my 24 rows. How did I pick 24? Well, if N, the number of stitches I want to work on, is 12, I want to knit twice as many rows to get 12 garter bumps. So if my N is 12, I knit 24. If you want an odd number of stitches as your N, go down 1 and then double. So if I wanted 13 stitches, I would subtract 1, which makes it 12, and then I would knit 24 rows. You can see this on the web page if you can't remember the numbers. So here we go. I've got my 24 rows because my N is 12. And now I'm going to start picking up along this edge. This is the right side of the fabric. So I knit 3 stitches, which are my garter tab. And then my pickup is going to be yarn over and pick up in every other garter bump. So this is the first stitch I'm picking up, which is really a yarn over. So there's 1, and then I'm going to skip that first garter bump and go into the second one. I like the back end of the bump. I think it makes a smoother pickup, but you can do whatever you want. So there's 1, 2 stitches. Yarn over is the 3rd stitch. Skip this one here. Pick up back here. There's 4. Yarn over is the 5th stitch. Skip this one. Go into the next free one. There's 6. Yarn over is 7. Skip that one. Pick up back here. That's 8. Yarn over is 9. Skip this one. See, it's kind of pulling toward that way. You're going for the next free one. Here's 10. Whoops, almost missed it. Yarn over is 11. And here's my 12th stitch. Let me double check. So there's 3, and here's my first yarn over, which is a stitch. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. If you wanted an odd number, you would add 1 more yarn over, but I don't need that. So I've picked up my 12 stitches, and now I'm going to pick up and knit in those 3 stitches at the very beginning of that garter tab. 1. And you know, it's a little bit fussy, but it doesn't really show much, so just go ahead and make it happen. There's my 3 stitches. So that's the right side. Now I'm going to flip it over and work the wrong side, and then we'll be ready for our patterning. So I knit these first 3 stitches, and these stitches in between, if I'm working in garter stitch, if my pattern's going to be in garter stitch, I would knit them. But I'm going to show you how it looks if I'm going to work for stockinette. And so then I'm going to be purling those stitches. So I knit 3, and I'm going to make an increase, which is just a yarn over at the beginning of the row, and then I have to bring the yarn around to the front again so I can purl these 12 stitches, my n number of stitches. $11, $12, and now I've got my 3, but I need a yarn over increase here too. And if I just leave the yarn where it is and knit those stitches, then that's going to make that yarn over the needle. So here we go. So you can see that I have my 3 stitches for my garter tab, which is going to continue along the edges. I've got an increase on each end, and then I've got 12 stitches in between. 3, 6, 9, 12, and that's where I'm going to make the magic happen in my lace pattern. I hope this helps. You can look at the full instructions on my website, PDXKnitterati.com. Go to the tutorials page and look up the Better Crescent Shawl Garter Tab Cast On.